Good morning, everybody. We're just about starting a minute ahead of time, and I think would like to use that extra minute. So good morning, and I'm glad to see that many participants, both from our project that will be having a conference here for a few days, and some of my Swedish friends have been taking the opportunity to visit us this morning. Some small practical information. Please make them silent, so we'll have a nice time together here. We will be sitting here together to close to 11 o'clock together, and after 11 we will divide into two groups. I will tell you more about that later on. We will have two short introductions before Mr. Peter Vadasz will tell us his story from Gyssing. For everyone who have the chance, you're more than welcome to join us for the lunch by 12:30. I hope you made a pre-booking for the lunch. Otherwise, give me a short notice and we'll handle that later on. So I'd like to give the floor to Ann-Britt Ulfgren, the Chief Executive for the municipality in Varberg, to give us an introduction to the city and the municipality. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, and I'm so glad that we have this nice weather today, so you can see Varberg is the best site. My name is Ann-Britt Ulfgren, as Magnus told you, and I'm Chief Executive, and this means I'm head of the administration for the Varberg municipality. It's a pleasure and a great honor to have the opportunity on the behalf of Varberg municipality to wish you welcome to this seminar and meeting here in Varberg. The North Sea project, Energy Vision, it's the name you have. I think it's very interesting and very important. I hope you will have a nice stay here, and hope you already have had a nice stay here in Varberg, the first night and day. Energy system and sustainability is a main issue and target in Varberg's development program, and Varberg is a city of energy. Some examples: we have one of Sweden's largest nuclear power station situated in Varberg, and we are a leading part in many windmill projects, and also have the district heating is covering a large part of Varberg city. And I know perhaps you are going to visit the heating new building for the district heating. I will show you some pictures of Varberg, but the best picture I think you have outside this building. So it's much better. And there are a couple of buildings, an opportunity for you this day to visit them, to see our old swim house and the castle and so on. So I hope you will all join and have this information from our museum. It will be nice meeting. I know Christina, who's going to show you that, is very good to tell the story. Varberg is about 60,000 inhabitants now, and we are growing every year. And we have a very good position here, not far from Sweden's second largest city, Gothenburg. And we think we are going closer and closer to Copenhagen and Europe for every year because of the infrastructure and the communications which bring us easier to Europe. And of course, education is very important for Varberg, for its growth. And we have the school, of course, for all inhabitants. It's for families. It's a good thing to go to Varberg and have their children brought up in our city. But we also have campus, of course, as we are in now. It's very good for the growth in Varberg. It's not only the town area is important for Varberg. We have a very living countryside with the transportation from the country into the town. We have small businesses in the town, and many areas who is growing around Varberg as a city. And the transportation and communication are very important, as I told you. We have the motorway going from Oslo to Hamburg as our site now, and we are not far from Gothenburg, as I told, and other parts in Halland as a region. The railway, the West Coast Line, who is going to be even better through Varberg, there we are preparing now for a tunnel under the city. And of course the harbour, you see the harbour with the boats, and the industry harbour further away. And you can go by boat to Denmark. I think it's a boat left.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This morning. It was my boat.
I took the bicycle to this meeting today, and it was first time this year I could go by the sun, and very nice way. We have a lot of path for bicycles, so it's a city where we can cycle a lot, and we are very proud of our wind power and the district heating, as I told you before. The trade and industry in Varberg is growth, and we are a shoe city. Many of big shoe companies is situated with their headquarters here in Varberg. And as I say, the bikes, we have a factory who had made a lot of bikes and do as well, but we living here often take the bike. IT companies and health resorts, the spa. We told you under breakfast here, we talk a lot about the spa, which is a very famous and important business in Varberg. And the nature, the sea. We are very proud of being situated near the sea. We can swim, we can surf in the middle of the city, but we can also go outside in the nature and have a very good woods. And just north here we have good area for bird watching. Many people is coming here for bird watching. And this is the marketplace. Every Wednesday and Saturday, lots of people, especially in the summer, at the marketplace. And here's an example of the bikers and the harbour. In the middle of summer, the whole harbour here is full of these boats from different countries. And when the water is, for me, much warmer than today, so this is on the beach, but many use the water even in winter. So, thank you. A small picture of Varberg, and I hope you will have a good stay.
Thank you very much, Amrit, and you have to run back to your office and the business, so thank you so much for visiting us this early morning.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Now, especially for our Swedish friends, and we have Holger from Germany too, by the way. You might not be familiar with the Any Division project. And Robin, you will give us a short introduction to what this project is just about. So you have an idea, everyone, what's the purpose of this conference. Please.
I would ask you not to pay too much attention to my 2 slides today, but I would like to take this opportunity to explain you a little bit about our projects in a very few minutes. And just before I come to that, it's always an honor to thank the host of the day to start off. I'd like to thank Magnus and his colleague Ida and friends from the Alexandersoninstitutet for hosting this event at the beautiful Varberg city. Also thanks to representative from the Varberg community, and of course the EMC network, which is attending so many numbers today. Thank you very much. A little bit about the project and where we're coming from. My name is Robin van der Linden. I represent the Energy Valley Foundation in the northern part of the Netherlands, and we've been involved in setting up the project and have become lead partner during the course of the project. And we're very happy to be asked to do so. because it totally aligns with where we are going in the Northern Netherlands and where we would like to be with Europe. And that is coming closer together with the regions around the North Sea on a strategic policy level, but also on a technological energy transition level. And that has been the focus, a twofold focus within our project, Energy Vision North Sea region. We started this project early January 2012 with 13 partners from all around the North Sea. We have friends from Denmark, from Sweden of course, from Belgium, Germany, and you always forget some regions when you're doing it out of the top of your head, but still, a very nice group of people with highly complementary skills. And it is exactly the complementarity of those skills, representing the expertise that is available in the different regions around the North Sea, that we have liked to tap into in this project. And a little bit more about the content of the project. We have a cluster project, and it's part of the evaluation process of an EU-funded program called Interreg 4B, which most of you probably know. If you don't, I think you should ask Magnus, because it's very interested in attracting entrepreneurs and business owners like existing in the EMC network. But to the point, the cluster project is aimed at analyzing what has been done during the course of the Interreg 4B program, which has run the previous years and which is preparing for a new period starting at the end of 2014. So we've took these 9 energy-related projects that were executed in that program during the last few years, and we've taken a look, very close look, at what have they been doing and how do they align and where is the complementarity. And resulting from those insights, and that's actually the goal of our workshop and our presence today at Varberg, would be a cooperation model for the North Sea region in the coming Interreg period. Not only based on regional complementarity and expertise that is already present in this room today, but also related to the technological requirements which are in front of us and which are currently preventing us from very efficiently reaching the 2020 targets, which you all of course quite know. So the aim of the project is not only to tell Brussels and tell the Secretariat in Viborg that you've been doing great stuff in the project, so you should keep up the good work, but actually you should do better and you should focus on these and these and these topical areas. And you should make use of your regional networks like EMC, who have particular expertise in the field of biomass, in the field of wind, in the field of creativity, but apply it to the energy transition which is taking place around the North Sea at the moment. And you have my boss, Dr. Koos Lok, today that will kick off the second workshop. You will not be joining us, unfortunately, for today, but it will focus on how this model could look like for the North Sea region energy transition. So it's a more technological perspective. And Mr. Peter Vadasz will be inspiring us with his fantastic story about how individuals can make a change for the better within a region. And we will use this inspiration to further discuss and identify cooperation opportunities for across the North Sea region. So that's on a high level where we are going with the project. And as I said, we started 16th of January 2012, and we will end on the 2nd of July, so quite soon, with this project. And we hope to by then have these cooperation models and a technological model for the energy transition, our shared energy transition around the North Sea. And it of course is my duty to invite you all to, and pleasure to invite you all to a final conference we are organizing on the 26th of June, taking place in Brussels, and in cooperation with our partner project LOCAP, which is focusing on energy efficiency and carbon reduction especially. We are organizing this event, and Charlotte Ketzley is in as well. Thank you very much for joining us. She's in the back. So if you'd like more information on that project, please feel free to contact her. But still, we have a very nice final conference organized jointly, taking place in Brussels on the 26th of June in the Scotland House, you will be sent the invitation. But if you would like to know a little bit more about where we are going with our future energy transition and potentially how we can cooperate and get there jointly, then you are very much invited to attend. So, but thank you very much for today, and hope you enjoy the presentation.
Thank you very much, Robin, for those words. Now we're getting close to the main speaker, our keynote speaker, Peter Vadasz from Güssing. The few of us have listened to you, Peter, before. That's the reason why we wanted to listen to you once again, and to give more of our friends the opportunity to listen to you. One practical thing just before you take the floor. After Peter's presentation, there will be a coffee break downstairs. You know, in Sweden, coffee break is quite important to tell international friends. Secondly, after that break, we will divide into two separate classrooms downstairs. The project partners in one, and everyone else who would like to take a further discussion with Peter, monitored by our chairperson from the board, Jan Stolnacke, will up and until 12:30 have a further discussion with Peter. But for our five countries within the project, you have the opportunity in the end of Peter's presentation to put forward one question, one from Scotland, one from Denmark, and so forth, because you will miss the opportunity afterwards when we divide into two groups. But the Swedes and everyone else who will join Peter afterwards, you will have about 1 hour to discuss and put forward your questions later on. So that's the reason why we separate the questions here. So I hope you understood this setup. With those words, please, Peter, welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very nice and good morning to you. I see everybody up, even the United beer drinkers of last night. Well, you know, I know two very famous and very prominent people by the name of Falk. The one was Peter Falk, known as Colombo, and the second is Magnus Falk. I want to thank you, of course, for inviting me and giving me the opportunity before this panel of experts to deliver a short speech and show you what we have achieved in the field of renewable energy in Güssing. Oops. Doesn't seem to be a very start. As you can see, I'm not a technician.
No, I made a mistake. That's my mistake, so please. First and the last slide was the same. Here we are. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, this is the best picture I can present from Güssing, in case you decide to go on holiday there one day. And if you do so, please stay for quite a long time and spend all the money you get. Now, this is a small town of about 4,000 people in the southeast of Austria. And I'll tell you why and show you the geographical location. We are about 8 kilometers away from the Hungarian border. And that meant living along the Iron Curtain for more than 45 years. And that meant a lot of problems. Among them, migration. Young people who saw no perspective, who saw no future, who knew they would not get a job in that region migrated to Vienna and other cities. And when I became mayor in 1992, we conveyed a survey because we sat down and thought hard about how to change that dire situation. And then we said, why not try something new? Why not turn to renewable energy? And so we asked students to go from home to home, asking people what they were heating their home with. And of course they said oil, what else? So we added up and found out about 6 million euros left that little town every year and went to Saudi Arabia or to Russia with love. And we said, why not try and change that? And I look at the year 2005, and that's true till this day. Today we produce energy worth 13 million euros every year. And that has changed the history and, of course, the economic development of our town decisively. Of course, we were lucky too. In 1995, Austria joined the European Union, and the Burgenland, the province, the most eastern province we're living in, became Objective 1 area. And that meant that we were eligible for funding on the part of the EU, the federal government, and the provincial government. And of course, that was the precondition for everything you will see here on the screen. Energy strategies as developed in many regions. Energy saving measures, energy production from wood, agriculture, and the sun. That was our aim at that time. We founded the European Center for Renewable Energy because we wanted to get acquaintances across Europe with people who also try to deal with renewable energy. And we founded a center of technology. And when at the very beginning in 1996, when we started out with our district heating plant, we had hot debates whether to risk it or not. And of course I said, as mayor, friends, we will do it. We will connect all public buildings to our district heating. Kindergartens, schools, town hall. And very soon we found out that people followed suit when they saw that district heating was just as convenient, and above all, of course, if you look at the chart, it didn't have to be more expensive. We knew we would not be able to sell it if we were more expensive than oil. So we had a hard time over the first years. But then after 2000, when the oil price started climbing, we started rejoicing. Because nowadays, as you will see afterwards, people who are connected to our district heating pay between 20 and 25% less than if they would heat their home with oil. We built a network containing demonstration plants because people came to Güssing and said, where are the plants? Please show us what you have implemented. We've heard a lot of talk. Now, where is the plant? So we built demonstration plants, research and development. You see a very fervent follower of science because I saw what science can do in shaping future technologies. We offered advanced training, we rendered services, and something happened we never dreamed of, and we call it ecotourism today, because between 15 and 20,000 people come to this little town every year to look at our plans, to convince themselves that it is true what they have read in the papers or even seen on television. It all started out with a district heating grid. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, we ran into lots of skepticism. We ran into lots of doubt. And of course, into stiff opposition, especially in our struggle with the power companies, which were monopolies way back then. But we said, not only yes we can, no, we said yes we will. And then we had a problem. When 50% of a street decided to connect to the district heating, I called a meeting with all the people living in that street. And I said to them, listen to me now very carefully. I will have to open this street to lay down the pipes into the ground, but I'll do it only once. Once I have repaired this street and resurfaced it, there will be no opening anymore. So, we offer you something which does not cost you any money right now. We offer you a link to your house. So when this is a new street, it will remain a new street. And believe it or not, many people accepted and were glad afterwards, because the ones said, well, we have just bought a new oil stove. Ours is so good and works so well. I said, okay, you can connect in a year, 2, maybe in 5 years. But remember what I said, we offer you this link, or it will be over. So this was from a communal point of view, one of the good ideas, because many people followed suit and they were glad they did afterwards. Now we have a small part of our town, a village with about 260 people. And we said we will do something new there too, and cover one part of the roof, of course the southern part of the roof, with solar panels. From May to September, these panels supply all the hot water the people need. And you have to start the stove of the district heating only late September or at the beginning of October. And of course, you don't have to go it alone. There are many people who want to follow suit, who want to do something about their community too. And the first thing we did was cooperation with science, with the Technical University of Vienna. As you will see, a very interesting cooperation, and the one which initiated everything we have in Güssing today. This is the man we ran across, Professor Dr. Hermann Hofbauer, and he told us about a groundbreaking new technology he had invented at his university. Gasification. Not using air, but hot steam. And hot steam takes out the tar of the gas. We were in Denmark looking at plants which were operated with air. And they had a big problem because they had to stop every once in a while, clean the engine or the turbines, and then start it again. And this man invented a gas which has almost no tar in it. And that was what we call the groundbreaking new technology in Vienna. Gasification. Now, many of you are technicians probably. You see what they are doing down there. They are producing synthetic natural gas from wood. Put it to the gas grid, as you will see afterwards in other pictures. And this was the Research Institute, a laboratory for 20 fabulous scientists. They are working there on new technologies, on the improvement of our present technologies. This is a team of scientists, and when they invented synthetic diesel, they found out, look at the pictures. Synthetic diesel on the left and fossil diesel on the right. Their synthetic diesel gained from wood contains only 1/3 of particles compared to fossil diesel. Again, for me, a giant leap forward. And then, of course, we said, don't walk it alone. What about the communities in the vicinity? And today we have the Eco Energy Land, as we call it, Eco Energy Land, because we wanted to give a special brand to our region. If you enter our region, you will see a green drop of water, a giant green drop of water. And if you know what it means, you will see it means production from renewable energy, production of energy from renewables. A very protecting agriculture, environment protected tourism. We don't want anybody to devastate our beautiful environment. So you see a green drop and you know, now I'm in this special eco-energy land. In the meantime, we are 18 communities. And I have prepared a short summary of what it is about yesterday, and at the end of my presentation, we will hand it out to you. And then, looking at the new technology, we said, well, we have to implement it. And after long and heated discussions, we were able to build this biomass power plant. And this wood gas, this very, very clean wood gas, can be turned into heat, of course, can be turned into electricity, into synthetic natural gas, and as you will see in small quantities, even into fuels, gasoline and diesel. So we have the know-how. And that was the decisive step we made in Güssing. Because when we started out with our eco-energy land, Güssing was the first, what we call climate model region in Austria. Today we have more than 100. And many regions across Europe do a lot of efforts and do a lot of work to get transformation from fossil fuels to renewable energy. And some call it a transition. Call it whatever you like. But I think it is time that we start doing and acting. Methanization plant with a gas filling station. Your car runs on synthetic natural gas produced from renewable resources. This was sent to us by a Swiss university showing you the emission of CO2. And that's that brown, yellow chart. And you see at the end of it, we call it Meta Pur in Switzerland, no CO2 emissions, because scientists say that the amount of CO2 a tree or a plant inhales in the wake of its life will be emitted when you burn it, when you incinerate it, or when you gasify it. So we say it is CO2 neutral. It does not add to the heat trapping CO2 in the atmosphere. Secondly, agriculture. You have heard the debate about corn and food production versus energy crops. No. New technologies. Grass and clover is used to produce heat, electricity, and biogas in small communities. A perfect model for our villages for supplying heat, electricity, and biogas. And of course, the sun. Ladies and gentlemen, the sun is the most powerful resource we've got. And if scientists are correct, we will have the sun over the next 5 billion years. So this will be one of our next research topics. One of the last things I did in our community, I bought an electric car, because we say we want to use electricity we are producing ourselves with the help of solar panels or of photovoltaics. And imagine one thing. You as a mayor of a town, or you as somebody responsible for politics in your region, can tell business, look, we can offer you energy we produced ourselves from renewable resources, and we decide upon the price. And when somebody came to Güssing and said, well, what about the business here? I say, how many jobs do you create? And then we'll talk about the price. And this is an advantage you can't beat, believe me. Of course, a big topic is energy storage, and you all know it. If we find ways to store wind power, we will have made a giant leap towards the future. And many companies are working hard to achieve it. So what we're doing in Güssing is very simple. We use the sun, the forest, and agriculture, and we produce heat, electricity, we produce synthetic natural gas, and in small quantities, even fuels. So Güssing has proved it is possible. It is possible to reach a very high degree of self-sufficiency. And as I said, green energy is not a job killer. Green energy creates jobs and gives you the opportunity to attract business, as you will see. Nowadays, we produce about 85% of the heat used by private homes and the industry from renewables. We produce about 200% of the electricity a town of 4,000 inhabitants needs. We have the capacity of producing 400 tons of synthetic natural gas per year. And of course, nobody prevents us from scaling up this plant. And about 58 tons of fuels, synthetic fuels. And many years ago, people from famous German car makers were in Güssing, telling us that by the year 2020, they intend to have 20% of the overall fuel needed from renewables. A very ambitious goal. I don't know if they can reach it, but no matter what, they have an ambitious goal. So, what did we do? When we planned the district heating, of course, we got subsidies, about 33% from the EU, from the federal government, and from the provincial government. Connecting fees made up about another 33% from the people who connected to the district heating, because we said, well, if you have to buy a new stove, it's about the same price. And of course, 1/3 was a bank loan. And a community had to take liability for it. And believe me, I had some sleepless nights when I thought about this project could fail. Well, if it had failed, I wouldn't stand here today. And now you may say, so what? Now look here, that's the answer. We have attracted more than 50 new companies to our town. They have created more than 1,100 new jobs over the past 15 years in a small town of 4,000 residents. The new jobs are netting between 9 and 10 million euros a year. And that's money that is spent, at least to a good part, within the town. We have a total sales volume of energy of 13 million euros a year. Keep the money in the region. Keep it working for you. Keep it creating jobs. Provide clean and affordable energy for your people. Oh yeah, CO2 emissions, we have cut them by 70%. These are the prices of raw materials, and you will see later on in the Eco Energy Land that all the aiding communities are trying to sign long-term contracts with forest proprietors and with farmers. Because we tell them, look, you may get more next year when prices rise, but what about the year after next? We guarantee you a stable development over the next 10 years. You have the security of an additional income. We have the security of the raw materials. So for me, it's a win-win situation. And above all, look at energy prices, especially consumer price of district heating. You pay 8 to 10 cents per kilowatt hour today, compared to 19 to 22 cents for electricity, and fossil fuel 12, and natural gas 10 to 12 cents. 20 to 25% less for our district heating compared to oil and gas. And believe me, that's an argument you can hardly beat. One of the next steps will be the so-called home power station. We want as many people as possible to produce their own energy, and deliver the surplus into the national grid. There are banks which will finance this in return for the feed-in tariff they receive. And over a period of 10 years, it pays off. So again, we are the advocates of decentralized, localized, and regionalized energy production. Sorry. And by the way, you can have a wonderful air condition in summer from renewable energy. So everyone in your town, in your village, in your region is paying for energy. The question is, where does the energy come from and where does the money go? And we said, let's turn the tide. Let's produce our own heating, our own electricity, our own fuels from the sun, from forestry, and from agriculture. And let's keep the money in the region. Let this money create new jobs for the people. Now, as I said before, the technology we're using in Güssing is gasification. Because product gas for gas engines or turbines, synthetic natural gas, Fischer-Tropsch fuels, hydrogen, we don't know where the journey will end yet. We're in the middle of new sensational research. These are future technologies being worked on in our town. The development of dual fluid systems, synthetic biofuels, topic hydrogen, gas cleaning, zero emission technologies, and test laboratories for combustion systems. Research wherever you look. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, what I call doing your homework is the first step when entering the field of renewable energy. There's a lot of renewable energy in many regions across Europe, across the world. And the first thing we did, we sat down and made an assessment of what kind of resource do we have sustainably. And then we hammered out contracts with owners, with the proprietors and the farmers. And this is the first task everyone has before starting. And then sit down and clear the financial possibilities. Is funding available? How much do we have to cover through a bank loan? Will the community be willing to cover this bank loan in the medium or long run? But always remember a town, a region that is able to produce a large part of its energy from its own renewable resources. Deciding the price, attracting business, supplying people with clean and affordable energy. And there is no business that needs no energy. There is research going on, of course, in the field of waste. Our large cities across the globe produce thousands of tons of waste every day. And why not turn a large portion of it into energy? Research worthwhile. And of course, we have not gone unnoticed. Not unnoticed in Austria because we were the first who entered the field of renewable energy and had the first successes. And we were very surprised when we received one of 100 Ecotech Awards in Japan in 2005. It was a great compliment to the little town, or as you might call it, the little village. We were the most innovative town of Austria in 2004. We received the Austrian Award for Climate Protection in 2008. And of course, we have visitors from around the world. Just for the ladies in our audience who maybe cannot take their eyes off Arnold, the elderly person on the left is me. So, what is the bottom line? Many regions across Europe do have the capability of producing a large portion of the energy they need from their own renewable resources, from the vicinity, maybe from not farther away than 25, 30 kilometers. We have built a network in the meantime, and this is called the Eco Energy Land. The summary I will hand out to you afterwards. Because again, we need cooperation. You must seek cooperation with science. Many scientists are eager to help you. Many scientists are eager to do research on renewables. Because we are in a very interesting time right now. I remember one of my favorite presidents of the United States once said, "The torch has been passed to a new generation." A generation willing to leave old paths, to seek new ways. And ladies and gentlemen, that generation is you. Every one of you. It may be tough in the beginning. You will run into skepticism. You will run into doubt. You will run into stiff opposition. But keep track. Follow your dreams. And one of Austria's famous poets once said, "Do not consider yourself poor because your dreams did not fulfill. Really poor are people who never dreamed." And another Austrian scientist said, "Everything you do, just keep in mind, we have not inherited this earth from our parents. We have borrowed it from our children." Good luck to you, and thank you for your attention and for not falling asleep.
Thanks a lot, very inspiring. Last year and even this time, it was very inspiring. Thank you, Peter.
Although you heard it the second time.
Yep, it was even more inspiring this time, I think.
You're a very polite person.
You're a good speaker. Please wait, Peter, because we'd like to address a few questions from each of our guest countries here. For example, Scotland, Chris, or would you like to address a question, Peter?
Maybe my colleague,
Or-
Charlotte, might want to. This is my fourth time listening to Peter. So, Charlotte, have you got a question?
He's a real fan of me. Imagine 4th time.
Do you have Peter's autograph?
Everywhere I turn up, he's there.
You'll get a certificate next time.
I have one question, and we spoke about this yesterday. Scalability, how you scale this up. Your presentation is always fascinating, and it's built on a business model. And the business model was to create the conditions where wealth was contained in the region of Burgenland and in the city, or the village of Gussing. The Interreg project, North Sea region, is about creating the conditions where we become more competitive as a North Sea. And I think the focus of Energy Vision is to try and create very similar conditions. What advice would you give ourselves as Energy Vision in scaling up your presentation and, going from 4,000 to possibly somewhere in the region of 400 million persons?
Well, of course, it will not be achieved from today to tomorrow. This transformation or transition, as some call it, will take time. It will take money. And every government must quite be aware of the fact that they've got a choice. Either we invest heavily into renewable energies now, or we'll have to spend a lot of money cleaning up and repairing the damages caused by climate change. And of course, if you look at melting ice caps right now, and you see the quarrel that's already starting, who owns a larger portion in the Arctic? Well, maybe they can now drill for oil again. You see that the future is not just bright for renewables, but a very, very decisive aspect of whatever we did was take the people along. Educate the people, educate the children, show them what's possible. And it will not be easy, believe me. And the large power companies will not give up their claims. It's a steady, it's the drilling of hard wood, as one of my friends put it. But it's worthwhile. Talk to the people, report, send out reports, send out information leads. Let them know what you're doing. Try to get as much support from the public as you can. And you will see politicians will soon follow suit. Because politicians have one character trait: they always want to be re-elected. This is bottom up. Not here we come, we are the angels from heaven. No, you must convince the people that you are saving the environment, that you are creating new jobs because you produce clean energy and energy that's affordable. Because the price is always decisive when you talk about energy too. I can only hope, stay the course. But don't think it will be easy. It's not been in our small village. It will not be on the large scale that you are envisioning now. But poor people, poor politicians who have no visions.
May we skip over to the next question? From Scotland, we get further down to England, and we have Lynn and a few for England. Yep, please.
Hi, Peter. I was just interested when you said that you had funding from the European Union, about 33% to match what you put in from the Austrian government and from your own time. Which particular European funding streams was the money coming from?
I think it was the 6th program,
EP7.
I think it was the sixth. Could it be?
FP6.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? The real, for us, the real good effect the funding on the part of the EU had was the fact that the national government in Vienna and the provincial in the province of Burgenland had to co-finance if they wanted to draw money from the EU. They had to. And that was money we would never have received otherwise. But try to find friends. Try to find friends who support you. And as I said before, go out into the public. Go to the people. The topic is high on the agenda in every country around the globe. But I think it was the sixth program, or within the frame of the sixth program, where all this funding took place.
Okay, we speak to our friends from Denmark.
Yes, thank you. You were telling us that 200% of the heat is produced from renewables.
Electricity, 200%, 85% of the heat.
And heat, 85%.
Yeah.
Yes. I was wondering if you have made a total account on the total consumption of energy in your town, and what percentage of renewable is it in total?
I would guess about 50% now.
50%.
50%,
To take
yeah.
with you transportation and so on, everything.
50%.
50%. Thank you.
Because we are already producing 100% more of electricity,
Yeah.
which we deliver to the grid, of course. Because we are not allowed, in Austria at least, right now, to supply private homes or the industry directly, which we could, but we're not allowed to right now. So we have to deliver it to the grid. We get our feed-in tariff, and in a couple of years, I'm hopeful that we will be able to deliver it to the people directly and to the industry too.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. And from Germany, Holger or Stuart, I don't know who would like to address the question. Stuart?
My questions you basically answered, Peter. I was listening very carefully to the early parts of the story, and I'm guessing one of the prerequisites for the success story that you're able to tell now has been that there was significant political alliance just on a communal basis. I understand, I think now that you were able to achieve that through educating the public and essentially creating an environment where the politicians almost had to line up with that public consensus. Would that have been the key to establishing that political consistency that you would need to take this forward?
If you are waiting for politicians to take the lead high up, you could wait too long. But this is what I call from the bottom. This village of 4,000 people will create its own energy from renewables. It will. And if you come to this town as a politician and you want to be re-elected, you better listen to what the people say and what the people want. And of course, I was in the provincial parliament for 10 years, and I found friends there too, and that made it easier. But wherever you look, if you find politicians, if you find leadership, you will see that the effort will be successful. If a mayor, if a regional politician does not show any interest because he draws some money from some big power companies, maybe even his CEO there, forget it. But then remember, there are always elections within 4 or 5 years.
What would you consider to be your most important role? That of mayor or that of champion? Or is it not possible to do?
No. If I had not taken the lead in our little town, nothing would have happened.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And that's true to many other communities too. And it was, don't ask me what it was in the very beginning, because we don't have the time to tell you all the hardships and all the quarrels and all the arguments and all the opposition that I ran into. Today, that's no question anymore. Nobody in politics will stand up and say, no, we're against renewable energy. No one will do that today. At that time, they thought I had gone nuts. Okay. It is a lot easier, but of course we were acting on a very small scale. And the larger the scale, the larger opposition will be. And the stiffer the opponents. Because all the large power companies are not our friends. But they have been forced by EU regulations, thanks heaven. We would never have achieved on a local or on a national level. So you need leadership. You need people who stand up, take their stand, and as I said, stay the course.
Thank you.
We've got a handful of participants from the Netherlands. Could we start with Kos?
Yeah. Is that okay with my
Yeah,
colleagues?
please do, Kos.
Yeah. Well, Peter, to start off with, your speech is very inspiring. It took Chris 4 times to become a fan. I'm a fan right now. So your awards are rightfully given to you, I think. We will come to Kussing, so we will come and visit you. My question is a little bit about scale as well. As an example, the northern part of Germany, Lower Saxony, is obliged to export electricity against negative prices because the grid cannot handle the energy. Now, if we really go for upscaling and we look at the grid, then the grid is very vulnerable. And we need, the last calculations on that one is we need about 200 billion to upgrade the grid to make it possible to get all the sustainable energy on the grid, on low, middle and high current. This will be a major challenge. So we need to inspire the villages and the towns to do exactly what you're saying. On the other hand, we need to come up with a solution for the grid. The blackouts caused by the grid are increasing. Redundancy investments with companies for those blackouts are increasing.
And the question to Peter, help me please.
The question to Peter is this is a very good example. We need to do this, but upscaling will be countered, bounced by the limitation of the grid. Any idea on that one?
Yeah. You have to invest heavily,
Yeah.
because Germany put a lot of pressure on herself when they started the exit strategy from nuclear energy, of course.
Mm-hmm.
This will be a tough time to come, but without massive investment into the new grid, change will not happen.
Yeah.
Will be impossible to happen. So Germany did, in my opinion, a good thing to say exit nuclear power, but of course the investment will be tantamount.
And who is going to lead that?
In the end, it will be paid by the people. But again, look at the disasters striking everywhere. Tornadoes in Germany, tornadoes and hurricanes in Spain. We see the growing of a desert in Spain on European soil. So what is the answer? Spending an ever-growing amount of money to repair damages and to clean up the mess left behind, or to invest into renewable energy and try to reduce that heat-trapping CO2. In other parts of the world, I will not name a country, they started the business with oil sands. They started the business of fracking. Nobody knows what the consequences will be. In the case of oil sands, you only have to take a look at that country. They are devastating whole areas with chemically polluted water. Is that the answer to our future energy needs? I don't think so.
There is many more questions to be asked. I'd like to hand over the question to Philip in Belgium.
Okay, Belgium is the last one, I think. Yes, it's an amazing story. It's everything you touch seems to be a success, but I think there has been a lot of problems also. For example, your gas.
I didn't tell you the failures.
Yeah.
No,
That's another presentation.
we could talk about that all afternoon. If you want.
Okay. But still, I wonder about your gasification, because all over the world there has been done experiments and demos with gasification, and it's the first time I hear a story where it seems to be successful. What's the difference with other experiments, or why have you got a lot of problems also with this gasification? Is it economic feasible at the moment or not?
It is, and of course I'm not a technician, and I'm a far cry from a scientist, from being a scientist. But you saw this address. Mm-hmm. You can inquire everything you want, because there's Professor Dr. Hofbauer, the inventor of this, what I call groundbreaking technology, and he will tell you everything he knows, and that's a lot more than I know. Mm-hmm. So it is, all I know is gasification that we saw in Denmark 15 years ago had the problem that the gas was full or filled with tar. Mm. And tar is bad in the gas, because you have to stop the engine, you have to stop the turbine, clean it, and then start it all over again. And there is a gas produced from wood which is very clean and contains no tar at all. And this was, as far as I know, this was steam. Steam was the answer. Steam was the innovation instead of air. You don't blow in air, you blow in steam. And apparently you capture all those tar particles which otherwise would remain in the gas. But Dr. Hermann Hofbauer, Technical University of Vienna.
Is your installation still his only investment?
No. There's a second one only 35 kilometers away. And there's one in Carinthia. And of course the one they are building in Gothenburg is another technology, but it's gasification process too. You could also inquire in Gothenburg what they are doing. It will be in operation soon, or is already in operation. I don't know.
my obligation is to take the responsibility for the clock, the time. And therefore, everyone who had the time in discuss further on at the round table with the lead of my chairman, Jan Stolnacke, would be happy to join Peter and Jan and everyone who would like after the coffee break. Please sit for another minute for some practical information. Peter mentioned he made yesterday afternoon a handout. You can take your copy in the end here. The presentation, I've been offered to send it out to you as a PDF document, so everyone who have been signing up for this conference or send me an email afterwards could have this presentation. Thanks for that option, Peter. And we will now head down to the coffee break. It will be downstairs for 15 minutes only. And then we will divide into either the ongoing workshops within any division, everyone who's involved in the project. Everyone else is more than welcome to join this round table in the next lecture hall. And for everyone who's signed up for the lunch, it will be served next to the restaurant by 12:30. So with those words, we'll give Peter a big hand. On your way out, if you're curious about any division, there is some brochures and an upcoming event about traffic and environment here in the end of May for any Swede or Danish friends who would like to join. Thank you and welcome.